Okay, so today's video, I wanted to tell you about the time when I saw a ghost. And I'm not kidding. This happened a couple of years ago, and it was my only supernatural experience. It was really weird. It's not something that I think about a lot. It's not something that has changed me. You know, a lot of people, when they talk about supernatural experiences, it sort of changed them in different ways. That is not the case here. It happened, I moved on, and I never really give it much thought. But I wanted to record this story for, I don't know, for anyone who'd be interested. And I wanted to assure you, which is very difficult to do here, but I wanted to assure you that this is a very true story. This really did happen to me, which is kind of difficult to convince someone, especially, you know, there's so much online that you just don't know if you can trust or not. So, you know, you look at this with a critical eye and you make your own call, what you think about this story. I'm just gonna give you this story. So here it is. So this was about, this was in 1988 or something. I think I was something like 7 or 8 years old. And I was living with my mom in this very beautiful apartment. It was in Stockholm. It was a couple of years ago again. And this day we were supposed to go someplace. I think we were going to a party or something, some event, me and my mom. And we used to have this really long hallway. Like, it was a really long hallway, and I was sort of leaning against the wall, and I was waiting for my mom, who was in the bathroom putting on makeup and stuff like that. And I was kind of annoyed and, you know, sort of rocking my head. You know, I just turned my head to the other end of this long hallway, and at the other end of this hallway was the front door, and across of it was my room. A second or two, I saw a creature walking from the outside door to my room. 1 or 2 seconds, but I saw it. Like, I really saw it, and it really affected me, and it was very strange. Like, I felt like this is not normal. This is supernatural. This is something very strange and weird. And, you know, as a kid, you can imagine a lot of things. I certainly had a huge imagination. And, you know, when my carpet could be like an island for my G.I. Joe action figures, you know, and the floor would be the ocean. You know, I had a ton of imagination, but this was something different. This was something that didn't just come from my conscious brain. It was something that just happened, something that I didn't create. You know, I want to be very clear on this. This is not something that I just imagined and it just popped up. It could be a number of logical explanations for this event, but it was not my imagination. Now, the second thing is, I wanted to sort of explain what it is that I actually saw. And this is where it kind of gets very difficult. So I saw something like a tall humanoid, like a person walking. He was like 2 meters long, was an adult, and he just walked from the door to my room. The most interesting about him was that he was sort of textured in, he wasn't like transparent. Like, that was the scary part of this story. Like, he wasn't transparent at all. He felt like a, you know, a physical thing that you could touch, actually. I never got to try it, but that's what it felt like to me, the way my eyes perceived this whole thing. And I remember that his texture, and I've given this a lot of thought. It's very difficult for me to describe the texture of this person, but it was sort of fluffy, but don't get the wrong idea. It wasn't like a stuffed animal or something like that. It wasn't exactly hairy. It was sort of like, it sort of reminded me of, if you've seen these anatomy models where you can just see the muscles, you know, without the skin. It sort of felt like that, but very soft. And it was sort of gray. Okay, I do remember specifically that it was a very gray color. Not like muscular like The Rock or anything like that, but you can just see the defined forms of this figure. And he just, you know, walked into my room. And the second he did that, just out of pure instinct, even though I was like petrified, I just bolted. I just ran to my room because I had to see this creature again. Because it was just a second or two, you know, I had to go in there and see. And obviously the creature wasn't there. So the event itself, it was very short. It was 1 or 2 seconds, okay? And I remember that I cried and I ran to my mom and told her about it. And of course, her being an adult, looking at this rationally, she thought I was making, just pretending, make believe. It was just a kid with a big imagination, and I was pretending that I saw a ghost. Maybe because I was so bored, waiting for her. And so she sort of laughed and, just sort of smiled and like, yeah, okay, so you saw a ghost, and it wasn't a big deal. And years later, when I tell her this story, she doesn't even remember it, because doing this whole make-believe thing, this is something that you did a lot as a kid, so there's probably tons of stories that she could remember. So this particular story, she just doesn't remember it, and it bothers me a bit. It would have been nice to have like a witness to my story, or at least a witness to how I seemed that day. But so I've been thinking a lot about this throughout the years, about what it was, what I think I saw. I can't explain it. That's the truth. I can't really explain what I saw. I don't know what that thing was. And I've been sort of trying to look at alternative explanations to all of this. I've been actually searching online a lot about these sort of things, and, trying to find like scientific explanations, And so one of my favorites is that it could have been a hallucination, It happens all the time. People hallucinate all the time. It happens. Maybe as I was waiting there and maybe I hit my head for a second and I saw something. It's possible. I remember that at the time I did actually read this comic book. It was about Tarzan, and there was this one comic book where he was fighting with this sort of ghost tribe, and I remember thinking that there were some similarities between that ghost tribe, the people in the ghost tribe, and the ghost that I saw. So, who knows? Maybe a combination of my memory from that comic book turned into a hallucination. I've also read about people who have been in places on the planet where there is a high field of electromagnetic that can sort of influence the brain to cause these hallucinations. Like, there is a ton of scientific explanations to all of this, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, nope, this was a spirit, a ghost, something, from hell, or, I don't have the audacity to say that it was something like that. I just don't know what it is that I saw that day. The only thing that I can really assure you 100% is I saw something supernatural. It's never happened to me before or after that incident. This was an isolated incident that is like nothing else I've experienced. Well, not exactly. I do have some other stories, but nothing quite like this. This was like truly unique and original. And so I don't know what it was. You can have your theories. You can think that I'm making it up. I'm a YouTuber trying to get clicks on my YouTube channel. You can't really trust a YouTuber, can you? Just wanted to share the story. This is what I saw, and hope you enjoyed it. If for nothing else, for a little bit of entertainment and a bit of a escape from everyday life. Okay, that's all I had for today. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.